Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. The regular season has begun for the Montreal Canadiens, but we'll have to wait another day for the Montreal Canadiens to get their first win of the season as they drop their season opener 5-2 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, that's a that's a bummer. Not really what we were looking for in terms of a hot start. There was definitely some highlights in the game for the team, but really I think what identifies this game is just a really slow start, which is exactly the kind of thing that Martin St. Louis has been talking about all throughout the preseason. Is like that's something we can't do, and it's exactly what we did. We played completely flat throughout the first minute and basically, throughout the first period, just no inspired play, especially the top line. I'll talk about Slavkovsky. I thought he had a great game, but Suzuki and Caulfield were almost invisible, especially, early on. The Leafs were able to score within a minute into the game just because, we're not winning faceoffs and nobody's really fighting for a puck. So, yeah, that's frustrating, but yeah, I think generally speaking, we kind of got our way into the game. There were some times where we were definitely in control. Obviously, we had the lead at one point, so really a back and forth contest. But we kind of let our guard down, and that's kind of what killed us in the end there. On the positive notes, Oliver Kapanen scores his first NHL goal on shorthanded. That's not many players are able to do that on shorthanded. I think he turned a lot of heads with, the release he was able to have. He ripped that thing far side. I don't think Stolarz was expecting that kind of shot either. So that was exciting to watch. Obviously, really cool, his first game, proving why he made the team, scoring his first goal for the Canadiens this season. So that was pretty exciting. And then Bolduc added to that. So we're getting, kind of new guys or younger guys who aren't kind of like the staples of the team, scoring goals for us early in the season. As if we could get, some of our more established goal scorers to kind of follow up on that, that'd be great. But yeah, so those guys with goal scorers, that was great. Kirby Dach gets an assist in his first game as well. The Canadiens had some interesting lineup choices for game number one. Not something I expected or predicted as per my last video. Obviously, Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky made up the first line. And again, I mentioned, Caulfield and Suzuki have to be, better than the way they played tonight. I did not really feel very, enthused by the way they were playing. I mean, like they played okay, but, as our first line guys, kind of our franchise cornerstones, if you will, like I think we should expect a little bit more out of them, especially off the jump when, the whole thing that we've been preaching in this preseason is, fast starts, that kind of stuff. But after that, we had Bolduc, Doc, Gallagher as a second line, which is interesting. Obviously, they scored, and all three of them got points tonight, so you can't knock them too much. But it was interesting that that's the line, and also that was the second line. I think it's not a bad lineup choice, but interesting that they went for that for the second line, and then the Newhook, Kapanen, and Demidov line. I actually kind of like that. I think Kapanen obviously proved that he's got a bit of a scoring touch. So if we can get Demidov and Kapanen to kind of link up a little bit more, that'll be interesting. But yeah, so interesting lineup choices, and then line A obviously on the fourth line with Evans, Anderson. I think line A probably should be lower down in the 5v5 lineup considering he's not quite up to speed. I know we'll see what happens with him as the season progresses. Maybe he picks up speed a little bit, and we put him up, put him with Demidov or something like that to get him some scoring chances 5-on-5. But yeah, for now, interesting. The defensemen were all kind of what we expected. Jack Hagg got the nod today, so maybe we'll see Struble tomorrow. So yeah, we'll have to see what that looks like. But yeah. Mostly just that second line was pretty interesting to me, but I mean, I can't really say too much about it because they scored a goal. Everybody got a point on that line, so I'm going to assume that they're going to keep that going for tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see. I thought Montembeault played a great game. Kind of what we expected of him. He made some big saves, especially one. I think Nyes right after the third goal they scored, they almost got another one on a good forehand, backhand move, but he was able to stretch out, make a save. He was sharp when he needed to be. The goals that got scored on, that's the second goal that got scored. Maybe you want to save on that, but he was kind of like the puck was kind of like underneath our defenseman who was just like down on the ice. So it's probably kind of difficult to see where that shot was coming from. So I don't really blame him too much. But yeah, other than that, like, it's tough. I'll talk about that third goal, the goal that the Leafs took the lead on. Both, so Matheson breaks his stick, and then somehow Lane Hudson, while he's back checking to catch up with Nyes, also loses his stick, I think, in between the legs of Matheson, who is also back checking. So both defensemen don't have a stick. And so Montembeault makes the first save, but there's literally nobody to take the puck away from the Leafs because both of our defensemen don't have sticks. And then, of course, they score because, there's literally no sticks in the lane because there's no, like, all our defensemen sticks are in the neutral zone right now. So that was a mess. Just, an undeserved goal to take the lead late in the game. It wasn't too late in the game, but, the third period. But yeah, so that's a frustrating one to let in. But yeah, generally speaking, Montembeault played well. I thought, the whole team got better as the game went on, but we can't afford to start games slow like that. I mean, we have another game coming up tomorrow. We're gonna be a little bit tired after this one, so like we need to have a faster start. We need to be playing well, especially considering how tight this Atlantic Division is going to be. We're back-to-back games against Atlantic Division opponents, so we need to be winning some of those games or at least getting some points, because it's gonna bite us in the long run, because that's what happened last season. We barely made the playoffs because of our slow start or whatever. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. It was overall it was a pretty solid game from a lot of players. It's just got to play a full 60 minutes, get some better luck on our end. Some players that I thought were playing pretty well for the Canadians. Slavkovsky won. I think he had like 6 or 7 shots on net, including like one that went off the post kind of late in the game that could have tied it. I thought he was all over the place. He's exactly what we needed to be, like what we needed to see from him. Forechecking, getting shots on net, making offensive plays. Some of the passing, he whiffed on a couple passes and stuff like that, but everybody was kind of shaking the rust off game 1 of the season, so I don't blame him too much for that. But like, I think easily the best player on his line when you have Suzuki and Caulfield. I think they played fine, but they weren't standing out. Like Caulfield usually is a kind of guy who you expect something exciting to happen when he's got the puck, but pretty much everything was getting blocked up at his stick. Same with Suzuki. So I was really impressed with Slavkovsky getting pucks to the net. Obviously, the entire second line, Bolduc getting a nice goal, a nice finish off of a shot there. Kapanen, got that first goal, nice shot from him. I think Kapanen and Newhook on that penalty kill, I think is going to be something that'll stick probably after what happened there. But I think the pressure and the speed that they can provide, I think can kind of scare opposing power plays just because of the offensive threat that they provide. And clearly, people are going to be looking at them a little bit more in that light after this game. So I think that's a good lineup there and a great way to score your first goal if you're Oliver Kapanen. Defensive-wise, Matheson and Dobson, for the flack that I'm giving them, I thought both of them played really solid tonight. Dobson had a lot of great offensive opportunities. I thought Matheson had like a great back check, poke check to kind of like negate a potential breakaway kind of earlier in the game. So I thought both of them played really solid. Hudson, had some great offensive chances, which we're gonna be expecting for the rest of the season. He's the guy. Like whenever he's got the puck, something's gonna happen. So that's good. But yeah, I thought like defensively, a fine game. Demidov, he had some nice moves on the power play, that kind of stuff. He took a penalty there, like kind of the same penalty that Laine took early in the game, which is just not the kind of penalty you want. But I like that Demidov specifically is trying to be aggressive in the offensive zone, create some chances, especially with our team I think tied at that point. So don't blame him too much, but yeah, we'd like to clean that up a little bit. We're in the box a little bit too much today. Yeah, and then on the other side of things, on the power play, we weren't really able to contribute there. I saw a lot of passing on our power play and not a lot of shots on net. We'd like to see. I think there was a couple chances where like Slavkovsky or Cole Caulfield could have taken a one-timer or something like that, getting the puck on net, and we were just passing it around a little bit too much. Didn't get enough offensive opportunities. I think specifically with Caulfield, I think a big change is like ever since Laine's gotten onto the team, I feel like Cole just has not been, defaulting to shoot like he used to on the power play for the Canadians. I feel like he's always looking for the pass, and it doesn't really help that he's often kind of down in the bumper position or like below the goal line or whatever. But I'd love to see him like, if somebody gives him a nice pass, like if Hudson is able to, from the top of the blue line, give him a nice pass. I'd like to see him just kind of take a shot like Line A does when he's on the power play and just see what happens, because I think people don't forget he's a his shots will go in just like Line A's do. So I mean, I would love to see Caulfield rip the puck a little bit more than he currently is. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things. Like the power play is just gonna have to cook a little bit before we start getting going. It's game one, so that's the way it goes. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of the game today. A little bit of a disappointing outcome. You'd love to get 2 points to start your season. You'd love to have a good first 60 seconds of your season, but apparently couldn't get that one done. So oh well, but 24 hours from now we're playing game number 2 of the season against the Red Wings. So a great game against a little bit less skilled of an opponent. I mean, it's the Atlantic Division, it's the NHL. Every team is equally good in terms of like their ability to beat you, but the Leafs are definitely projected to be a little bit better. So hopefully the Canadians can bounce back in game number 2. Get a solid win there, but yeah, that remains to be seen. So yeah, I appreciate everybody watching this video. I just started an Instagram account the other day. I'm on my Instagram. I'm going to be doing it's Wisco Habs fan on Instagram, same as YouTube. I'm also doing YouTube Shorts here on YouTube, where I'm predicting the outcome of every NHL game to see if I can break 500 on the regular season. So the idea is, I do a prediction. If I get it right, it's like a win. If I get it wrong, it's a loss. And then I'll do my, my percentage throughout the season on a, every day, and see how close I am. As of recording, I am, 0 for 4. I predicted all of them wrong yesterday, and I predicted the Habs to win, of course, and they did not. So not off to an amazing start, but I think it'll be kind of a fun thing to just kind of like have a kind of a daily, short post or whatever, and just I think it'll be kind of fun to see if I can, if my luck can turn, see if I can predict some wins. Maybe I wouldn't recommend that you put the money line in, put the parlay in based off of what I say, but it would be kind of interesting to see how good I am throughout the entire season of predicting winners, losers, that losers. So yeah, it'll be kind of fun. So if you're interested in that kind of content, check me out on Instagram, also on YouTube Shorts. But yeah, so I'll be posting those daily for every game. Also posting on YouTube when any Habs news is going on, as well as daily, so gamely, every game recap, that kind of thing. So yeah, so that's the kind of content you can expect from me. Leave a comment down below if there's anything else that you would like to see me do on this channel or on Instagram or anything like that. But other than that, that is all for me today. So I will see you guys in the next one.